Today I'm here at Prospect Used Auto Parts in New Oxford, PA, and I'm super excited. I'm excited because I got a couple of things that I really needed for the Z3. One of them being tires. These are used tires, obviously they're dirty, but I did examine them and they are in really decent shape overall. Just a little dirty, gonna clean them up. Good tread on them. They're Continental Extreme Contact DWS tires. In my opinion, it just beats the cost of new tires. So I paid $90 for all four of these tires, and not just the tires, but what I'm even more excited about is this trim piece that I could not find anywhere online. I paid $15 for this. I can't believe that I got that trim piece for $15. I know that the center console units for the Z3s, like mine, cost upwards of $500 to $700 online, at least eBay. I've searched around other places, but I couldn't find them. I'm super thrilled that I got that. Before we leave, I'm gonna give you guys a tour of this lot, see what other kind of junk they have. This is definitely gonna be a different type of video, and I've always wanted to go to a salvage U-Pull-It yard. Something that, even if I wasn't getting parts, I could get some content for the channel. But also at the same time, today, conveniently, just so happens that I was getting parts. Let's take a look here and see what we've got. Looks like we've got a row of Volkswagens right there. Got a row of Subis over there. A few Ford trucks. And what is this thing? A Summit. Eagle Summit. Look at that thing. The body on that thing is actually in pretty decent shape. Look at that. Looking here in this aisle, I haven't seen anything that isn't totally picked apart quite yet. We've got Subarus and Volkswagens in our path currently. And as I walk down the Volkswagen aisle, this guy right here just jumps out at me because this is the only one of this era in the whole aisle. And Volkswagen Rabbit. Considering the age of this thing, I don't know if this is 70s or 80s. You guys comment, let me know. I should know this if I'm the car guy, but the bumper on this thing is straight and rust free, even though that's smashed. The body panels are solid. The front bumper is also in good shape. Aside from this right here, the steel or chrome part there is in great shape. I'm not gonna go in this pile of water, but the interior looks filthy, but it doesn't look like it has any tears. Look at this, Volkswagen Rabbit. Even that back seat looks like it's in good shape. Aside from the dash being torn apart, it really doesn't look that bad as far as a candidate for getting parts off of if you have an old Rabbit. Put me in an auto auction or a salvage yard where I can find cars that just bring back memories and have just that nostalgia factor. I would rather be doing that, checking out these cars that bring back memories and just that nostalgia factor of it. I'd rather be in the midst of that than brand new cars most of the time, because there's just an attraction I have for 80s and 90s cars. And look at this. This looks like a little two-door Civic hatch. Is that right? Yeah, Honda Civic hatch. Two-door. I just wish that you saw more cars like this on the road. The shocks on this hatch still work. Look at that. This thing is pretty torn apart. 152,000 miles. Wow. That definitely has hit the grave very young in miles. Sad to see something like that. that could be a unique little classic driving on the road in the graveyard at only 152K. Definitely could have seen a lot more miles. Oh, look at this. We've got a two-door. This thing is packed full. Look at this. Look at that seat. That seat is in good shape. The whole car is basically dismantled, but this is an Accord. The taillights are missing. A lot of the body panels here are in decent shape. They're not rotted out. It's missing a gauge cluster, so I can't tell you guys how many miles that one has. Looks like it used to be red, but now it's blue. 95 and a 94 Camry. And they used to make a two-door Camry. I haven't seen one of these in forever. 2.2 liter. Interior doesn't look too bad on it. 163,000 miles. Look at that. Nice trunk panel there, in good shape. And again, another one here at this yard that rust-wise, the panels aren't bad. I'm looking at the door panels, the fenders. If you had that generation Camry, there's a few parts on that could be salvaged. 301,000 miles on this Nissan Altima. Coworker friend of mine has one of these. It looks just like his, except for his is black. This thing is dismantled. It's just turned over 200K, or it's about to turn over 200K or something. So he could be driving that for another 100,000 if he babies it. Oh my. Look at this thing over here. 397,000 miles in the graveyard. 4.7 liter Tundra. This thing did its job. Oh my. Wow, 397,000, guys. Let's take a look at these Chevy trucks and GMCs. Looks like there's a row of Ford behind them. Start down here. Looks like this one used to be a plow. 171,000 miles. Oh, square body, 300 and something thousand. Look at this square body. It's just been absolutely stripped of all its parts. I mean, stripped of its parts. Look at that. Somebody got some parts off of this thing to restore their own square body. 155K on this one. We've got the seats out of it. We've got a rear bench seat that actually looks pretty good. This is pretty rusty. 352,000 miles. Wow. Here's an express van. It says 104,000 miles. That is kind of young to be going to the grave. 104,000 miles on an express. Yeah, that is definitely young for one of these vans to be going to the scrapyard. Here we have a Chevy Astro. This van has 215,000 miles. And it looks like somebody took this seat out here. A G20 with 226,000 miles. What is in this thing? Wow. Oh my gosh, look at these seats. I gotta walk around and take a look at those front seats. Look at the seats on this G20. 226,000 miles. Seats are in good shape on this thing. If somebody needed a good set of seats for their van life build or their conversion or whatever they wanted to do. G20. A lot of these are tore up and tore up good, I'll tell you that. As you're watching this video, I'm all over the place because I see all these cars and it's like I don't know where to go to because there's so much junk. Look at this. This thing has been torn apart. 164,000 miles. Those floor pans are clean. Even those seats don't look bad. Look at this. It's like a 97 F-150 with only 91,000 miles. This thing's sitting in the salvage yard. Got rust in your typical Ford fashion right here. Looks like it might have been repaired at some point. Got that dash torn apart. Got some rot and rust going on the door jamb there, but that door could be used overall. A solid piece. The bed is in good shape. Look at that. Rust on this well here. I do have a soft spot for this generation F-150. My dad had a 99 Super Cab and a lighter red color than that. It actually looked a lot more like this one here, except for it was red. I did see this one. This is a 2002 with 133,000 miles. I didn't look at it closely, but from the distance when I was looking at the Chevy vans, didn't look like the bed had any rust at all. Let's take a look at these rocker panels and see what they're like. Wow. Those rockers are really clean. And that underbody is too. No rust on these door jambs. Looks like it's a manual. Smells like it's been sitting for a little while. Wow, look at the body on this. The tailgate's missing that trim piece up top there, but I don't see a speck of rust on this one. Looks like it's damaged right there. Usually these side panels tend to rot out back there as well on these Fords, but the rocker there smashed. No rust though. No rust on these rockers. That seat is in good condition. It's a shame to see this one here in the yard because that body is clean. Pontiac Aztec. You don't see many of these weird looking automobiles on the road. I remember when these things first came out and thinking that they looked so funky. How many of these things do you see on the road? There's like none of them still on the road. The interior on this one's not in bad shape. Has that, wow, talk about a nostalgia factor. It's got that GM smell, and it's hard to put my finger on that to describe what it smells like, but when I open the doors and I smell this thing, it reminds me of my parents' 1998 Pontiac Transport. That's a 2001 Aztec. Each automaker has its own smell. Like if you have GM of the late 90s, early to mid 2000s, you have Ford, you have Chrysler vehicles, BMW, Volvo. They all have this smell that is just, it's hard to describe. If you're a car person, you know what I mean. Funny, I was just speaking about Pontiac Transports. You don't really see a lot of these vans on the road, and when you do, you usually see the sister of the Transport, which is the Montana. Basically the same van, but that Transport name tag, you don't really see a lot of that. So it still has the key here. That minivan was a nice little family hauler. I remember it very clearly. The one that my parents had was a 98. It was a blue with a gold trim. So the body was blue, and then the lower part here that is silver on this one was gold. It was a nice color combo. Whoa, look at that. That's a newer Malibu right there. 2016 or newer. Chevy Malibu. Wrecked. Look at this thing. 30,000 miles in the graveyard. What a shame. I feel sad when I see a vehicle like this that was so young and just wrecked. It's very sad to see that. Looking at this one though, I mean, it really doesn't look like it was taken too good of care of with all the garbage that's in it. I mean, you can see a vehicle that's in the scrapyard and still open it up on the inside and have a clean interior. And at least you know it's taken care of, but that thing was neglected. Dodge Durangos in the place that they belong. Scrapyard. This is the kind of stuff that I like to see. I wish that there was more cars of this era here in the salvage yard, just so I could see them. Look at this engine bay. Look at that engine bay. So clean. 170,000 miles. Look at that engine bay. Okay, that is, for being in a scrapyard, that engine bay is so clean right now. I've seen, wow. Look at that. All right, the body on this so far looks decent. No rust on this side at least. 170,000 miles. I have to sit in this. Got the key in it. Let's go ahead and fire it up. Oh man. Talk about nostalgia factor. I think I've told you guys on the channel before that my parents also had a 93, I believe it was, Ford Taurus wagon. So like this one here has the blue interior with the blue exterior. My parents had the red. I almost would want to buy that just for the nostalgia factor of it. I'm not going to though. Wow, look at that dashboard in good shape. The one my parents had was a 93, red on red. This is clean. All right, let's take a look in that trunk just for giggles. Back in the 90s, many of you remember, and even in the 2000s, I believe it phased away, but Ford had these keys where you'd have the square one and the round one. Family of fine cars, they said on it. This car is in exceptional condition for 170,000 miles. That engine bay, I mean, maybe the trans went out. Maybe something happened with this one that just was like gonna cost more to repair than it was worth. That one right there is the first one I've seen that is fully clean all the way around. And to be honest, it just kind of tugs at the heartstrings seeing it sitting there in such clean condition, even though it has high miles. That's the first one I've seen that makes me sad. I guess that's pretty much gonna wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed getting to check out this junkyard. And I was kind of hoping to see a little bit more vehicles that stuck out at me. Comment, let me know your thoughts on what your favorites were that you saw here today. And my personal favorite, definitely that baby blue Taurus with the clean engine bay and 170,000 miles. Everything else is pretty rough. Another clean one that I'm reflecting on the video as I've just walking through the yard, I'm thinking of that 90's, was it a 97 or a 2001 or 2 Ford F-150, the short bed red one. That one right there was pretty clean. And then it was cool to see some of those square body, I say square body, squared 90s styled Hondas. But aside from that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Comment your thoughts. Let me know your favorites. Let me know if you want to see more of these junkyard style videos. Rate the video before you go. Smash the thumbs up button. and subscribe today if you haven't already. I will see you guys in the next one.